Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us weekly. Guys at the Bar Talking Sports, your podcast for just that. Hanging out, drinking some beer, talking sports. Everybody, this is your boy Ray from Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. Thank you for joining us for another week, listening to the top the top games from last week, games that are coming up this week. We are broadcasting live from the local watering hole, Papa Tony's, sorry. I was going to say Tony's Bar and Grill, but it's Papa Tony's Pizza Place. Some really good pizza. We got my favorite pizza here, by the way, if you're ever here, is going to be the Doko Smoke. It's a barbecue pulled pork pizza. Good. So good. You can't go wrong with that. So try it. They got cheap beer, the whole 9 yards. And that's why we're here, because they got cheap beer.
And cold beer.
And cold beer, too, exactly. So thank you all for joining us, listening to the show. If you want to, you can follow us as well. Not only listen to us, but follow us on our Facebook group. We have a website called guysatthebartalkingsports.com. You can check that out. The Facebook group is Guys at the Bar Talking Sports as well. I'm even on Twitter, but no one follows that because I don't even do anything with that yet. But I'm trying, you know.
You're on X.
I'm on X. Sorry, on X. I found another social media platform. I can't remember the name of it now, but I'm on that as well. MySpace. I'm on MySpace. No, I'm not. So
it's got music with it.
Haven't decided to do MySpace yet. Yeah. So we're going to talk about last week's game. We had the Ole Miss Florida game. We have Indiana versus Ohio State, Penn State and Minnesota, Auburn and Texas A&M. That debacle there. We also have the games that are coming up this coming week, which is going to be Georgia Tech and Georgia. Some of those rivalry weeks that are going on. You got the Iron Bowl. You got Florida versus Florida State. But we're not going to talk about that. I'm going to let y'all go on that one, all right? We're not going to talk about Florida State because Florida State is not looking good. I don't want to jinx it. But we also have the Carolina-Clemson game coming up as well. Texas and Texas A&M. First time they played since 2011, I think it was, or 2010? 2011, yes. So, I mean, that's a huge game right there. I was looking at the ticket prices on that thing. The cheapest ticket you get is $6.50. That's way back in the nosebleeds.
I heard it was $11.50 as of this morning.
Oh, is it? Oh, crap. Okay. I'm completely wrong. I thought I was looking it up, and I was looking on SeatGeek, and there was one for $6.50, but they probably had a bunch of fees on top of that as well. But then they go right up through like the 13,000 mark, I think I saw, man. Yeah, ridiculous, right?
They love their football in Texas.
They do love their
How
football in
many
Texas.
students are going to pay for the next semester with their tickets?
How many years has it been since they played there?
It's been a long time.
It's been 13 years. 2011, yeah, exactly. So we got those games coming up this weekend as well, and you got the game. I don't even know if it's going to be the game, Michigan and Ohio State, right?
That's not the game.
Not the game, exactly. That's why College Game Day is not even there. They're going to be in College Station this week. So we got those games coming up. We have a terrible drinking habit around here. So if you want to support our drinking habit, we also have a terrible quality sound, as you can hear, right? So if you want to support our sound habit, we can do that by Venmoing us at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports. My name on there is Emery Eaton, so at Guys at the Bar Talking Sports through Venmo. Shoot us some cash, buy us a round of beer, whatever you want to do. But let's go ahead and get some introductions done, shall we? We have a not quite a full crew because we're missing one. But we do. We're missing a rebel, but we have Cheeks. How you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Looking very nice with your great green shirt.
Wicked.
Oh, Wicked. Oh, did you see the movie?
I saw it before it opened. Yes.
Okay, well, they're not sponsoring the show, so we're not going to get too deep into that, all right? But when they do, we will talk about it, you know? We also have the Chief here. How you doing, Chief?
Doing awesome. Glad to be back.
And I'm glad I know that you're glad to be here at Papa Tony's. This is like your favorite place to eat, right?
No, it's one of them.
All right. We also have Chopper. How you doing today, Chopper?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
Fantastic. My man came back from Greenville today. We have the Rooster.
How's everybody doing out there?
And I don't even know your name right now, but we'll just go with Mountain Man. We're going to stick with that.
Whatever, man.
How you doing today?
Good.
All right. I think you have a prediction on your team going to the playoffs.
We have a path.
The West Virginia Mountaineers have a path to the playoffs.
We have a path. And I'm telling each one of you, you better hope it don't happen either.
It's a narrow road, isn't it?
Because
It's a bumpy path.
next Tuesday I will be a pain in the ass.
Oh.
Hey, if they make the playoffs, that would be
Well, just make it the Big 12
ridiculously
championship,
insane.
but
Yeah.
they have a path, but it's slim.
If they make the Big 12, yeah, that would be ridiculously insane. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this, shall we? We're going to start with the Florida versus Ole Miss game, just because, that's always top of my list to talk about, as y'all know. But then we're going to talk about what's on the top of Chopper's list, and that is that. But first, Ole Miss, number 9, At the time, number 9 loses to Florida 24-17. I tell you what, man, DJ Lagway, when he is in the game, it's a completely different game for Florida. That's what I noticed, because you had the guy from Yale playing for the last couple of weeks, and it was not the same. But, man, the defense was on fire. The offense was on fire. Everything was going on all cylinders. Beats Ole Miss. I don't think anyone called that game last week except for me. Is that true?
No, there was 2.
There was 2 of you that did.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Landon the Legend did too.
Well,
He
of course,
did, yeah.
he's always on my side. He's a man after he's a young man after my own heart. I tell you
I
what.
start listening to his stuff before I make my bets.
You got
Me too.
since we're live today, everyone come in close whenever you're talking, okay?
Okay.
Just so that our listeners can hear us too, because we're doing a live show here in Tony's.
Papa Tony's.
I don't even know that. I can't get names right, as y'all know, right? So, what did y'all think about this game and how it's going to affect everything going forward? I guess because Ole Miss is out of the playoff picture now.
Absolutely.
I feel like.
Are they?
Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
Well,
Are they?
I think, I don't know that they are.
So they play Mississippi
take a
State
miracle.
this week.
Right.
Obviously, they're going to win that game.
They'll win that game, but you got to think about this. You got Georgia playing Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech could pull an upset, but I don't think it's going to happen. You got Texas playing Texas A&M. One of those two is moving on. I just think that Ole Miss is effectively done for the season. They're not going to the championship, and therefore they're not making the 12-team playoff.
Poor Jaxson Dart was sitting there. I don't know if you
crying.
He was crying. He was
Bawling.
throwing his helmet. I mean, he was so frustrated after that game.
He was upset on that first interception that got reversed, but then he did it right again.
I think it was
and
the
that's
next play afterwards when
and
they got
that
reversed.
you could tell he was very emotional. He knew right then that was it. Like, they get to play Mississippi State and they're done.
And he was trying to force things in as well. I mean, I don't know if you watched the highlights on that game, but how does this affect? I mean, from my standpoint as a Florida Gator, I'm not going to sit there and jump on this too fast and say Florida's up and coming. We're not going to be national champ. I heard people on the Facebook groups that I'm in for the Florida Gators saying national champions next year. Like, this is way too soon to call anything even close to
I
that.
think Florida is like South Carolina. There's somebody you don't want to play right now.
Right.
It's a bad time
Yeah.
to catch them right now.
I think they exceeded expectations. They'll have good recruiting as a result. And is Lagway coming back next year?
Yeah,
Then
absolutely.
I think Florida is going to move. Instead of being bottom quarter, they're probably going to be mid, and maybe better, but at least mid next year.
So they were expected to only win 4.5 games this season. They're at 6 now. Most likely, I mean, like I said, knock on wood,
7-5, that's a good
7-5 is a pretty good season for Florida, I would say.
Could be 8-5, right, with the bowl game.
Oh, with the bowl game, yeah, exactly.
but I mean,
I think what it shows, though, is that Napier's not going anywhere.
No.
So,
Oh, Napier predicted that. He said he wasn't going anywhere.
but I think all the stock on him is what's coming back. So they've got a younger team. I wouldn't be surprised if they're in the top third next year. The way the SEC's been going.
Quite a few of, like, a lot of the commentary on that game was freshman to freshman. DJ Lagway, freshman, with a running back that runs the ball in, and he's a freshman. Freshman receivers. Like, there's a lot of young talent on that field, and they're playing Ole Miss, who is, I mean, as much as you hate them, Mountaineer, like, they're not that bad of a team.
No.
And they're clearly have more talent than Florida does, but you have these freshman to freshman combos happening.
Again, I don't know if they have more talent than they have more experience than Florida. I don't know if they have more talent. I mean, Mississippi has crapped the bed all season long, and yeah, I know they got Georgia, but I think we can argue Georgia may not be as good as we thought they were.
They beat up a good Gamecock team.
Well, the Gamecocks that first quarter. If they could have that first quarter back, I'd like to see that game played.
That was legitimately the Gamecocks' worst game, though, wasn't
Absolutely.
It was a bad first quarter. It was 3. I mean, anyway, but I just think that it says a lot about Napier too. That the guys could have quit on him with all the crap that was talked on ESPN and Game Day and all that stuff. The players could have quit on him, and they continue to play for that guy. So I'm glad they gave him the vote of confidence before the Texas game and let him work it out. I think Florida's in good hands. Easy.
Thank you. I appreciate your vote of confidence.
Just
on
going
that,
back
man.
to, is Ole Miss out of the playoff picture? Not so fast.
They're not.
So, they should win this weekend. I think that you got a 3-loss Ole Miss who beat Georgia, right? You got a 3-loss Gamecocks potentially, and then you
But
get
potentially there could be 5 3-loss teams in the SEC.
Right.
Where are they going to put 5 3-loss teams along with Texas in there as well? That'd be
Right.
six
Texas
SEC
could lose
teams.
3.
No,
Texas could lose this weekend.
and then lose the SEC championship. That would be 3 losses. Yeah, that's true.
No. If Texas loses this weekend, they're not in the SEC championship.
Right. Texas A&M.
Oh, I thought Texas was already
No,
in. Georgia's
no,
already
Georgia's
in.
in.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
Against
that's-
the winner of A&M.
Hey, it might be better for Texas to lose this game.
So the worst. Well, I was going to bring that up once we're talking about that game. So that's something for the listeners to look forward to. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Because I was thinking about bringing that up, and because that's definitely I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's a Texas fan earlier, and he's like, no way they would do that. But we'll get to that later on. All right, Indiana gets ruined by number 2 Ohio State. Listen, like. Indiana goes in that game ranked number 5. Everyone thought, hey, they haven't played anybody. There was the big meme that was out there. Google Indiana's top 25 wins, and it said that you'll find none or something like that. Like,
Still,
yeah.
It was all of their wins against the top 25,
Yeah,
and it was none.
none
they
exactly.
haven't played anybody until they blew it last week.
Look, if you watch this game, it was a 7-7 game with about 37 seconds left in a rainy situation. Bad snap, punter dropped the ball. Ohio State ends up getting the ball on like the 12-yard line. They punch it in with a couple seconds left in the first half. That was the game for Indiana. They were a team that was an underdog on the road in a tough place to play. If they go to that in that halftime at 7-7, it's a different ball game. They went in down. Their heads were down going in. They never came out of the locker room.
Get this, y'all. 68 yards passing by Kurtis Rourke, and then 83 yards rushing. That was the total offense.
How much was
for
in the
Indiana.
second half? Because it was almost none in the second
Yeah,
half.
I mean,
That first drive where they scored 7 points was like
That was
the vast
75
majority of
yards.
that. Yeah, that was half.
Both of them still make the playoffs, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so some people are counting
Yeah.
Indiana out, but
They
I don't
played
think
Purdue
so.
this
They're not out.
weekend.
No, they're not out.
They're not
No.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to get into this right now, but Indiana gets a lot of flack for their schedule. I still have not. No one has told me what Penn State's quality win is.
They don't have one.
Penn State. Okay, if you say USC, who beat USC? Michigan. Who beat Michigan? Indiana. If you try to tell me Wisconsin, who beat Wisconsin? Nebraska. Who did Indiana beat? Nebraska. To me, Indiana is a better. Who is the quality win? If you're going to argue that Indiana's schedule's crap, which okay, maybe it is. Who has Penn State beat? Nobody.
100% right.
And that also falls back on Ohio State a little bit too.
But
Then Penn State should have legitimately lost at least 2 games.
Absolutely.
yeah.
Additional games.
Yeah.
But same with Indiana. Indiana's had those close calls.
No,
but
they have
has-
not.
They have not.
They have not.
No, they've won all their
blown out
games
everybody.
by
Michigan is the
double
only
digits.
game that came down to 2 points. The
Oh,
rest
was
of
it?
them-
Okay.
that's-
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Don't
What
you
was
remember what they did in Nebraska? Oh, you don't? You got to block the bat. Block the bat.
Don't want to hear it. Was it 56 to?
He's a Florida
Yeah.
fan. We talk
Yeah,
about
that's right.
Nebraska.
That's right.
Yeah.
Fair weather Florida fan. Right.
Never been everyone that listens to this show knows I've been hardcore about Florida since 5 years ago. By the way, when we started the show,
Be 5 weeks ago.
5 years ago this month.
So would you call it softcore with Nebraska?
I do have some
fan?
I do like some softcore with Nebraska because I have a little bit of a love for Nebraska too.
Just trying to figure out where you're at.
There's a reason behind my madness. I got into college football in 1995, and the next 2 national championships after that was Florida and
Tommy Frazier?
and Nebraska.
Yeah, Tommy Frazier.
No, that was the year before I got
okay,
started.
all right.
So that was it. 1994 was Tommy Frazier. 95
94,
season
95 was Nebraska's back-to-back.
Yeah, and then
who's the-
96 was Florida, and then 97 was Nebraska.
Nebraska again.
That was it. Yeah, that's why I like those 2 teams. I've always
You
followed.
just like the good teams.
I like Scott Frost. I mean, I thought it was interesting that it was at the time it was offense that I had never seen, which because I wasn't watching much college
And
football.
Scott Frost coached your alma mater.
Oh, UCF, yeah,
To their
exactly.
national
Yeah.
championship.
And whenever back in 2012 when Oregon was doing so well with
He was the- yeah.
like he was the offensive coordinator there as well.
This
So
went
I started
sideways.
following him. Anyway,
Yeah.
I love
Beside-
Scott Frost show.
I love Scott
What's your favorite
Frost.
color, Ray?
Softcore on Scott Frost. Let's move on.
Anyway, yeah. All right. Yeah, Penn State, we can say, does not have that many quality wins, along with
My
Indiana.
point was Indiana belongs in the playoffs.
I believe that as well.
If Penn State gets in, and they're in, then Indiana should be in as well, barring a upset this week coming up.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, by any of those teams for sure. Penn State scrapes by against Minnesota, one of those 26-25 wins. This team being number 4 in the country, it does seem like a joke to me.
Down the entire game. They were down the entire game until the end.
Yeah. Should they be? Obviously, they're going to be in the playoffs. They're one of the best teams in the country, but I think that's one of those teams that ends up getting beat by a Colorado or something like that, right?
If Colorado
Make
makes it.
Colorado makes it.
I mean, Colorado's not going to make
But
it.
your point is the wrong matchup for them in the first round. They're done. They get the wrong matchup, and Colorado would be a bad matchup for them.
Yep.
Colorado can make the Big 12 championship. They can still be in.
They
So-
can't still be, but I'm predicting they're not going to.
I mean, by the way, Iowa State and
'Cause I
Kansas
don't want
State would be bad matchups for Penn State as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
If it wasn't for like a couple turnovers that Minnesota had, that game would have been won by them anyway.
Wasn't there a block extra point and back for 2 points? That's the difference in the game, I think, right?
Yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, somebody reached out to me during that game, and they're like, "Hey, what happened with 2 points? How that happened?" I didn't get to watch that part of it because I was just kind of flipping through, and I had my little 4 screens going at the time. But
yeah, if you can't get by Minnesota, you're going to hurt in the Big Ten championship.
I mean, they should have lost to Wisconsin. They should have lost to Minnesota. They look worse against Penn State, I think, than Indiana did. At least Indiana in the first quarter, actually the first half, kind of kept them in check. Got away from them later, but anyway.
Well, Penn State did discover that their no huddle was working for them. The quicker they snapped the ball off, the better they did, and that ended up being what saved them in the very end.
if you have a disciplined offensive line, you can do that and get away with it.
Right.
You don't. This season, though, I haven't seen a lot of teams that are doing that hurry up offense as much. I don't know why.
Right. It's something we saw.
It's
a lot
probably
of
because of this freaking the fact that half the players on every team just came through the transfer portal, so they don't know the offense that well.
Right.
So you can't do a hurry up unless you have that veteran squad.
SMU run hurry up with Rhett Lashlee?
SMU does, and I know and this is Jacksonville State runs it with Rich Rod. But again, you got guys there that's been there for 2 or 3 years.
Rhett Lashlee is a Gus Malzahn disciple. So.
But yeah, your bigger teams aren't running the Oregon fast-paced style.
Yeah.
You know.
Nobody seems to be doing that this year, and there's always that one or two that do that seem to do very well, like Oregon did back in the day. Which back to Scott Frost, he did not do that at Nebraska at all, but he did it at every school that he had been at, and it's just weird. That's neither here nor there. Kansas beats Colorado. Did we all pick Kansas to win that game last week, or was that on our list?
No, there were 3 people that picked Colorado.
Yeah,
I picked Colorado.
Yeah.
I did too.
because Kansas. I think what we talked about is the potential for that to be a huge upset, and it sure as hell it was. Kansas has been playing good ball.
But Landon and I picked Kansas.
They beat BYU the week before, and then they come in and beat number 16 at the time, Colorado, who Colorado still has a chance to make the playoff if they win the Big 12.
I think part of the problem was, that, at least for me, they were playing at Kansas City Chiefs Stadium. I thought it'd be more like a Colorado home game, and it wasn't. What I saw in the crowd, it was a heavy Kansas. I mean, obviously it's close, but
was it full? Did you see?
It was about 60-75% full.
Was it?
Yeah,
It was weird because they had the Kansas City Chiefs logo in the middle of the field, and every time they did the shot, I'm like, wait, what am I watching?
Yeah, they got to play. Playing their home games there this year and next year, I think, because they'll be doing the Kansas game.
Yeah.
Now Dion supposedly said Colorado is the new Georgia. No one wants to play us. Is that true, or is that just a meme I saw that was
That's gotta be a meme, right?
That's just a fake meme.
He's been a lot more humble. I don't believe he said that.
He says things, but there's things that people make up.
If you saw it on the internet, it's true.
Well, I saw it on the internet, so it's got to be true.
Wow, okay.
If
TikTok,
If Dion said that, that's just him running his mouth again.
Well, last year he
That
would
was
have said
before
that.
this game, by the way.
Yeah.
That was before this game, and now we realize that you know what, Kansas wanted to play them, and they came out and won that game.
Kansas is the other, Kansas, Florida. They're teams who do not want to play right now.
Who is
Auburn.
Kansas? South Carolina.
Watch out.
Who is Kansas playing this weekend? K-State or no?
No, I think they got Baylor.
Baylor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that should be. I mean, they have I think 6 or 7 losses, right? So it's not like they're
out.
They're not in contention.
No, but I
they're
was thinking they could spoil somebody's day if they were
we
playing
need
somebody in contention.
We, as in West Virginia, needs Kansas to beat Baylor because Baylor has a tiebreaker on us.
Oh, really?
So just real quick, I'm going to throw some West Virginia love in here.
I want to hear
If
it.
we beat Texas Tech, Kansas has to beat Baylor, Arizona has to beat Arizona State, which is possible.
Not likely.
It's in Arizona, it's possible.
It's
Come on, give me some hope here.
I'm moving on. I agree.
Here's the one that's not happening. Houston has to beat BYU. That ain't happening. Oklahoma State has to beat Colorado. That probably ain't happening. Iowa State, Kansas State does not matter because the winner of that game goes to the Big 12 championship. And then TCU beats Cincinnati. Every one of those scenarios puts us in the Big 12 championship. Very, very unlikely.
You researched this heavily, I see.
Yes.
Okay. That is a shot in the dark if I've ever seen one in my life.
About the same chance the Gamecocks have.
By the way,
that's
by the way,
true.
Texas Tech.
I think Gamecocks have a better chance.
Texas Tech has the exact same scenario. If they beat West Virginia, everything has to match the same way, and they get into the Big 12 championship.
Okay, gotcha.
So they have a better chance than Ole Miss, maybe.
So speaking of one of those games, Arizona State, number 21 at the time, beat number 14 BYU. We all called that game for Arizona State, didn't we?
Well, sort of. I wanted to pick Arizona, but I picked BYU so Arizona would win.
Oh, okay.
That's why she's.
That's why I'm at the bottom.
I'm so confused
It's
about
the
this
guys
right
at the
now.
bar mush bet. It's what Cheeks is doing. Just let her mush her teams.
And I have.
I picked the other team so the other one win.
That's how we got so good at USC.
We'll take it. We'll take it.
BYU was on a roll, and now they lose 2 games in a row.
They should have lost 4.
Yeah.
I mean, they played over their skis. You know.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. That was that was not unexpected. Let's just say that Arizona State at the beginning of the season, I think they were blowing people out. 2 games in a row, they blew people out. I remember bringing it up on the show, and then they lost a few games. It was like, okay, maybe that was a fluke, but
they only
you know
lost
what? They're
road
back,
games.
baby.
They've never lost a home game this season.
Okay.
They only lose on the road.
And they were picked to be 16th in the Big 12.
Is that right?
Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Auburn beats number 15 Texas A&M.
You say the best one for last, right?
No,
How many overtimes was that?
4
4
overtimes.
overs. Yep.
Yeah.
So 43-41.
Yeah.
4 overtimes to this game. This is a classic Auburn home game where anything can happen.
Yeah.
It's haunted.
Grinding it out. Yeah, Nick Saban, right, said Jordan Hare's haunted. He's right. I told you, night games in SEC when, magical things happen. And you saw on Saturday night, 4 overtimes, a total grind out type win, as an underdog. Love that scenario.
Auburn owned Texas A&M the first half.
You're right.
Second half, I was like, whoa, what happened? Auburn's not playing football. They scored 10 points to Texas A&M's 24, I think.
Yeah.
And then it gets tied up at the end. They keep going back and forth. I think they scored a touchdown. The first overtime, they each scored a touchdown, and then they forced them into doing 2-point conversions at some point because neither of them scored on the second round. No, they got 3 points in the second round, and then it was 2-point conversions going back and forth twice. Was it twice that happened? And then all of a sudden, Auburn ends up getting that 2 points, but Texas A&M did not.
I gotta tell you, I like that. I like the overtime. I like the 2-point conversion thing.
Oh, it's
I do.
fun.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah,
drives
it's kind of like a PK shootout in soccer.
In a way, but I mean,
Kinda,
It drives some finality. Makes it
yeah,
fun.
you get it over with, but it's also intense. I mean,
Right.
it's really
Oh, yeah.
intense.
You've got to execute.
Yeah,
I hate the fact they have to switch sides of the field after 2 times.
I agree. It's
That
just-
drives me nuts.
The coin flip should decide what side we're playing.
Yeah.
End it right
Both
there.
good teams, and the crazy thing about A&M is after 2 losses, could still make the SEC championship and win the SEC.
Yeah, I mean,
It's crazy talk, but true, yeah.
It's crazy to think that after losing to South Carolina and Auburn, that you still have a road
And
to
Notre
the
Dame.
SEC championship.
Notre Dame doesn't matter for the SEC championship.
No, but it's
That's
3
the
losses.
thing.
They got 3 losses.
Yeah.
But I kind of like Mike Elko. I'm not a big A&M fan, but I like the guy. He's a guy's guy, football guy, and I think this is just the start for Texas A&M. Even if they don't make the SEC championship game this year, I think Texas A&M is going to have a good program for a while.
What's up?
And they did way better than we expected them in their first year in the SEC.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah. What is a better game for the SEC championship though? Texas versus Georgia or Texas A&M versus Georgia? You guys got to admit, I want to see Texas and Georgia play.
I do
again.
too.
I think-
Well, I want to
think-
see the rematch because
Yeah.
Georgia beat the snot out of them first time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what everyone.
I want to see them play again.
Yeah.
Now, but I mean, hey, Texas was at home. Texas had every opportunity to win that game, and they looked like shit. So,
Yeah.
but I do want to see that rematch. I just feel like Texas A&M, the moment might be a little too big for that team.
But Georgia's not been playing good ball lately.
Well, every other game.
Every other game except
Yeah.
against Texas, yeah. Like they recently, the last couple of weeks, like it's just been bad football
Yeah.
for them, right?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, the quarterback finally acted like a quarterback.
Oh yeah, he didn't throw 3 interceptions.
Right.
You know?
Wasn't that 3 weeks ago? Or was that 2 weeks ago he threw 3 interceptions?
2 weeks ago, he threw, and then it was 3 weeks in a row where he threw 3 interceptions each
Right,
game.
but I thought he had 2 games
And then
since
last
then.
week,
Yeah, he had 1 week where
They
he didn't throw
lost
any.
Ole Miss, and then they
Yeah.
won last week. Ole Miss was 2 weeks ago, right?
that was 2 weeks ago, yeah. And then the week before, it was we were talking about it that he actually came out and played a good game.
Yeah, no
I like
interception.
A&M's chances of
No
putting
fumbles.
stuff together
Are
after
they playing
2
in College
losses
Station?
and beating Texas.
They're
Yeah.
playing, so we're going to talk about that game in a little
Yeah.
bit. But I just think a better SEC championship is going to be Texas versus Texas A&M. But you know what? Glad to see Texas A&M able to get into the SEC championship. Whatever.
And we're
you
off
know?
Alabama, right? We're
And-
done with them.
We're talking about Alabama next.
Okay.
Number 7, Alabama, lethargic game against Oklahoma.
What a great transition.
Why are we talking about Alabama, right? 24-3. Jalen Miller threw 3 interceptions. He only threw for 164 yards. Oklahoma only had 257 yards on the ground, but it was an all-running game for them, and they win. 24-3. Defensively, they figured out how to show up, I guess, because I don't feel like they figured out how to show up on defense all
Like,
season.
Oklahoma hadn't played well all season.
And then they put the game of their life against freaking Alabama.
And
No interceptions.
Alabama's played okay. I mean,
I still don't think they're out of it either. I think they're in Ole Miss in the same category where
something could go their way.
Yeah.
They're ahead of Ole Miss.
Ole Miss
is ahead of
I mean,
Carolina.
Alabama has that 80s Notre Dame thing about it. It seems it always works out for them somehow.
You're right.
We'll see. I think this does a couple things. There was some talk of, was Venables on the hot seat? He beat Alabama. That squashes that talk pretty quickly. Number two is, the question mark for me really is, what is the locker room at Alabama right now? Where are those kids' heads at? They got a first-year coach. A lot of them came to play for Saban. A lot of them came to play for the head coach that's there now. But where are they at? Are they going to come out in the next game and give it all they got, or have they given up on the coach?
Iron Bowl week.
Well, that's
They're going to play their hearts
New
out.
coach understand the Iron Bowl.
Some of them will. Some of them maybe think about next year and where they're going to go next, because if they're not going to play in the playoff, they don't care about going and playing in the Citrus Bowl. They just don't. Now, this ain't Nick Saban's team. Saban had a way of getting them guys to do it, but I could see some of them checking out and not showing up.
So, assuming they don't make it to the playoff at all, you think that a lot of those guys hit the portal on, I think it's December 10th this year?
I think one guy already has. It
It
was the guy that shot a shot at on the coach's daughter and sent the horse picture. That's
Is that what we're calling a horse?
I mean, Milrose.
Well, he asked if she wanted to see the horse.
Oh, that's right.
Milrose going to enter the draft. A lot of guys will go in the draft. You'll get some, I mean,
He's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, I just can't see those guys. I mean, we're starting to see a trend in college football. If you're not in the playoff or playing like one of the major bowls, you're leaving. You're not playing in a Citrus Bowl or an
You're not going to risk getting
You're
hurt.
not doing that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the
You're either looking at the transfer portal or you're looking at
it's the Jalen
NFL.
Smith effect from the Fiesta Bowl a few years back.
This would be the worst year for any player to hit the transfer portal just because of the way that they're going to be limiting the rosters to 110 players this year.
Yeah,
It's going to be a bad time to hit the portal. Do you think some of these guys
No, I
don't think about
I
that?
think it's the opposite. Because
Okay.
they're limited to scholarship. There's limited how many people you can have. More teams will have availability. There'll be more money to spread around. It's about the money.
Okay.
I mean, these guys, maybe I'm assuming here, but a lot of these kids may not care. Like if a school like South Carolina offers a kid $1 million, well, if I can play at South Carolina for $1 million, I'm not sitting on the bench at Alabama or Clemson or any of that kind of stuff for $700,000.
I want to see.
I think it's opportunity for these kids. I really do.
I think that is why we're seeing this leveling in each conference.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And this whole salary cap thing that's going to happen, that's going to even the play a little bit.
Do you think there? So I'd love to see how many $1 million players there are out there. If it's one player from each team, 10 players from each team,
Well, we know Ohio
30
State
players from each team.
Ohio State spent $20 million. We know that.
$20 million.
We know that.
Yeah. So
That's
how many of
what
those guys? How much does the kicker get? Of that $20 million. Like where is it split up at? I would love to see where that's at. 'Cause-
$40.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, some schools it'll be a lot more because
And
they
free
rely
shoes.
on them.
Free shoes.
But you got to understand, it ain't the schools paying these kids. It's the boosters.
It's the boosters,
and the car salesmen and all these people.
You're right,
So that's who's paying it. So like Quentin Ewers is making like $3 million. So I don't know who's paying it. But I don't know. I just think the cutting of the scholarship is going to actually allow more teams to go get players they originally wouldn't have been able to get, and then have some money for them. I think that's going to level things out. I think it's a good thing. I really do.
All right, so it kind of leads into my first question of the week, and that is, there's not really one dominant SEC team, I feel like, this season. It doesn't seem like there's one dominant team in any conference, except for maybe Oregon, but then again,
We don't know.
we don't know exactly.
I-
So major upsets can come weekly. Has something changed in the SEC, or has the competition just gotten better? Okay, Cheeks, hit me. You put up your hand and everything. I'm not a school
did.
teacher.
Because I'm really adamant about this one. I really think that what we're seeing is a result of all that NIL money and that portal. I think the combination of both of them allows you, if you go to a place and you end up being benched and you're like, okay, that's great, I'm getting $500,000, but I'm saying, or like, let's talk about Manning. He's getting $2.1 million to sit on the bench.
To hang around until next year.
Right, exactly. So, but that's okay for him. But some people want to go to a place where they're going to be recognized and actually have an opportunity to go on to the NFL too. So they might go to an ACC, or they might go to a Big 10 or a Big 12 or something like that. And they're going to take advantage of the portal and the NIL money that they're going to get at that other school that they wouldn't get at an SEC to be an unknown.
So Manning is the exception rather than the rule,
Yes.
because he has a name. So
Yes.
every Chevy dealership in Austin wants to sponsor this guy. Every Toyota dealership wants. Every grocery store in that area, every major brand out there, actually Nike and everyone else would want to sponsor him as well. But the dipshit that's sitting on the bench, that's a 5-star at a high school, who has no name recognition whatsoever, but he plays for the Florida State or something like that. Are they really going to pay him $1 million to sit there just because he was a 5-star, but behind some other quarterback? Probably not.
Right.
You know, but then again, they might be able to get him some recognition out there. I just don't see it as I see the $1 million freshman coming in every so often, but you have to build a brand for yourself first of all. I would say.
Yeah.
And then as a junior, you're probably going to be the person that's able to make that $1 million.
Well, look at Arkansas. Arkansas lost 2 of their best players last year. Rocket Sanders comes to South Carolina. I don't know how much they're paying him, but he left a better team at the time in Arkansas and came here. And then the quarterback, KJ Jefferson, he went to UCF. So, you know, I think the SEC is seeing the result of some of these in the coaching. There was no coaching change. The coaches are still the same in Arkansas. So I think the SEC is starting to experience, like, I think the transfer portal, the NIL, I think that's starting to hit them a little bit. Where some of your teams, like, it's leveling the playing field, I guess.
Yeah.
It's making people like South Carolina better. You know what I mean? It's making teams like Vanderbilt better. It's making them better.
Huge leveling of the playing field. What do you think about this, Rooster? You've been kind of quiet on me today, man.
No, that's
usually I can't shut this guy up. You must still be in Greenville right now.
Mama Jamma was over there. He's biting at the lip trying to cut off over you. So, you know, I'm just waiting my turn here. But, I mean...
It's your turn, man. It's your turn.
No, I think I see the same thing. But, I mean, something we were talking about before you got here at the last minute was, you know, we don't have the big-name coaches that the SEC had before. If you look at it right now, who's the big name in the SEC?
Lane Kiffin.
Kirby Smart.
Beamer?
Not yet.
But I mean,
no, but people are talking about him. He's getting some juice.
But you know, you had big coaching names before, and it wasn't just Nick Saban. Everybody wanted to come play in the SEC. Everybody wanted to go play for those coaches. Now, does NIL play a role in that? It does, and that's probably why Saban's not coaching anymore. But I think NIL is playing a factor, but I also think we're kind of seeing a level of the playing field of the talent of coaching that's out there, whether that's up and coming and still haven't proven themselves, or whatever it is. But I mean, who is the dominant coach out there that everybody's saying I have to go play for that coach, like they did for Saban?
I think I want to go make money too, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think right now, if I had to look at the SEC, it's probably Kirby Smart, but even that recipe is not holding true. We're watching Georgia get beat up mostly because of a quarterback situation, but they don't have the dominant defense that they've had in years past.
In some ways, you used to be able to say, when you're recruiting somebody, hey, come play for me at Alabama. You're going to play with the best players in the country every single day when you're practicing, and then you're going to go play the best teams in the country as well every single time, and we're going to be a national championship contender every single year. And you could play that up, but now you have 12-team playoff. You know, like everybody can be a national championship contender.
Yeah, I think it still matters. I mean, this is our first year of it, so we'll see kind of what comes of it. Maybe Boise State will shock the world, but I think there's a lot of factors. I think NIL is one factor. I think there's a couple factors there, and we'll see how it plays out.
So, I'm thinking a 27th ranked Big 12 team might be in the mix as the Big 12 champion. So let's say West Virginia becomes the Big 12 champion, right? With how many losses do they have so far? Yeah, 5 losses. So they won't even be in the top 25 as the Big 12 champion. If they happen to get in.
So they'll be the 12th seed.
There'll be a 12th seed, but
are we really going to complain about the 12th seed? People complain that we complain too much about who the 4 and 5 was team and the 14 playoff. Now we're bitching about who the 12 and 13 teams are.
If you're West Virginia, just be thankful you're number 12.
Hey man,
right?
Neil Brown get a 10-year extension off something.
Yeah.
It's just
it's not happening, buddy.
I know, but still, even so, if Colorado ends up, the ranking hasn't come out yet, but if Colorado ends up in the Big 10 or the Big 12 championship, and then they win somehow, right? They might be ranked number 22 or 21 or wherever they're at. Do they even deserve to be in the playoffs at that point?
I hear what you're saying. That discussion. If you're trying to do that, you're always talking about the NFL, and you want to model the NFL. You cannot leave a conference champion out. You can't.
Bottom line, it's part of the program, and everybody bought off on it. They're going to make changes in the offseason.
2026 still have a chance to change.
Learn your lessons, go with how the system is now, and that's all you got.
Colorado's 23.
But
Chief, are there teams that are vying for that 5th spot rather than trying to make the SEC or the Big 10 championship game? So let's say you're Ohio State, right? Do you want to be in the Big 10 championship game, or do you want to be a 5th seed?
No, first of all, I think Ohio State is going to the Big 10 championship, and I think they're going to school the Ducks. The Ducks have been pretty consistent. I don't think they've gotten much better over the season. They were good to begin with, not much better than they started. Ohio State is much better than it started.
But do you want to be would you rather sit out the Big Ten championship and just wait and be the 5th seed and play West Virginia as your first round bye, basically? Your first round bye. Like I think I would rather be in that situation.
So there is, for some teams, it is going to be good to not make the championship because they get the week off, and then if they're seeded right, like number 6 seed, I think is the best seed of the because doesn't 6 play?
No. The best seed to be is number 5,
But you're not
unless you're getting the first round
try
bye.
to lose to stay out.
No,
Right?
nobody intentionally
You're right.
loses.
That's kind of what he's saying.
If you can guarantee yourself to be the 5 seed by sitting out
You do not lose. No,
Yeah.
no coach and no player.
Correct.
They do not. This is not about.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about them. Who is a coach or a player cares about Las Vegas.
So you're thinking that they're just going in there to win the game?
They are
They're-
going absolutely.
Okay. I mean, I agree. I tend to think that players and coaches are not going to let their guys just sit on their hands and go lose a game because they're trying to get better position. But,
Right.
I mean, Lane Kiffin said it a couple weeks ago during an interview. He said it makes more sense to not be in your championship game.
Well, congratulations
than
to
sit
Lane
There
Kiffin.
are
He pulled it
scenarios. there will be scenarios in hindsight where that is true, right?
Texas-
But however, there's no way to know that.
Hopefully, the CFP committee has some mechanisms in place so that nobody would want to do that. Like
Right.
whatever because they haven't released all their magic algorithms, but hopefully there's something in there so that somebody doesn't go, if we lose this one, don't kick that last field goal and lose. We get our bye week a week early and we play a cupcake team.
The only team that can do that is Oregon right now.
Why?
Because Oregon can lose the Big Ten championship.
I actually
And
think
they would be
Oregon's
the
going
fifth
to be.
seed.
They would be
I
the
think
fifth seed.
Oregon's
And play
going
at
to be
home
the
with
5th seed because I think they are going to lose.
But Texas, I do think Texas doesn't have a lot to lose. So I can see them going for it on 4th down a lot more and doing some things. They're not going to have to play safe. They don't have to play safe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, if we lose, we're still getting in.
So, Rooster, let's talk about Texas A&M Texas then, only from that perspective, right? We're looking at that game. Texas A&M is playing Texas. If whoever wins that game is in the SEC championship, Texas decides, hey, we're just going to blow this game here, let Texas A&M in. We're already ranked number 3.
No coach ever.
We're already ranked number 3. We might as well be ranked number 6 and play a cupcake number 11 team.
That's a rival game, man. You're not going to.
They haven't played in 13 years.
Yeah, they're not doing that.
We're not going to tank it.
Not doing
But
that.
I bet
Neither of those coaches were there 13 years ago. They could care less.
Listen to
No,
me.
they do care because
But it's
their
Texas
booster
football,
money.
your boosters.
Yeah.
The booster.
Right, I was gonna say it's ramifications.
It's all about
It
bragging
trickles
rights.
down.
Bragging rights in
You
the state
got
of
alumni
Texas, man.
in
If
the
you
stadium.
get blown out, it could really hurt.
Yeah.
Recruiting.
I do think though that Texas
take that
will not
chance.
play safe. I think they can play a little looser. 'Cause They can lose and get
Which
in.
might help them.
I think if this game wasn't against Texas A&M, it would be different. I think if they were playing Kansas or something crazy like that, it'd be completely different. This is Texas versus Texas A&M. This is
whole
bragging
does-
rights, baby.
does
The whole state is betting on this game.
Right.
Yeah.
Does the governor of Texas say, Texas, you better lose so that both of these teams are in the playoffs? Because if Texas A&M
No.
loses,
Well, if Texas A&M wouldn't be in the playoffs, they'd be in the
I bet you
championship
the
game,
governor
which
is
they
a
would
Texas
lose.
alumni. I just have that
But
feeling.
to your point, you said there should be a mechanism in place. You have all your rivalry games the last game of the season, so you can't think about that shit. You have, you're playing your rival.
That's
you're
why.
You're not going to lay down for your rival. Like if Texas was playing Vanderbilt the last game of the season, they might lay down.
Yeah.
I don't think they would. I don't
I think you play
anybody's
rival
gonna
teams, you
lay
can't.
down.
I don't think I personally I think when you're out there playing, the coach says we got to keep this wind under our keep this wind under
What
our
do you do in playoffs? What does
wings.
the NFL do? Last 2 games of the season usually don't mean anything. You're playing the bench. You're cooling off your team. You're keeping everybody fresh for the playoffs that actually matter. So if you're already in, you got a golden ticket. If it's not a rivalry game where the money's involved and the boosters are involved and the bragging rights and all that kind of good stuff, you might see teams have people sitting on the bench and keeping them fresh.
So
why would
Oregon
why
has-
why would I put my star running back at risk for a game that doesn't matter
But-
to me? I'm
Right.
ready to
So
get the
another
results.
thing-
Another
true.
thing is recruiting, and what if you laid down and you thought you were going to get in and you didn't?
I think
Because
you'd have to know you're in. Like
You gotta know you're in. Yeah. So Oregon, for example, they can have all their starters sitting on the sideline, smoking some cigarettes, hanging out, drinking beer,
They're going
while
to
everyone else
be
plays.
number 5 in my opinion because
will
they're
be.
going to lose to Ohio State in my opinion. But if they were to beat Ohio
State
State, they'll be
and
number 1.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
I
what
mean,
happens.
the question is, do they want to play a home game as a 5th Oregon? Want to play a home game in cold Oregon as a 5th seed, or play their first game in the Rose Bowl with a bye? That's the question you have to ask. I mean,
I don't know. It's not that
They're gonna-
cold
they'll
in
get the pick.
Oregon.
I mean,
It's temperate.
It's temperate, but it's
not
not,
Michigan.
like Big
It's not
Ten.
Wisconsin.
It's not Big Ten cold.
Yeah,
you take Miami Hurricanes. Let's say Miami Hurricanes. That's cold for them. If Miami has to go to Oregon and play in December,
Right.
it's cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, anything under
Cold to play
60
here.
degrees is cold for
And-
Miami.
It's cold to play here.
And
in
some
December.
SEC
Wherever
teams, too.
Miami has to go play, if they get in,
Wow.
it's going to be cold.
I think
Now we're
Greg-
doing weather reports.
So yeah, let's.
This isn't the Miami
This is
Dolphins.
guys at the bar talking weather. All right, so there is one
Tomorrow's gonna
team.
rain.
There's one team this weekend that will not be laying down because if they win, that's your only hope would be in the SEC champ or not SEC, in the playoffs. Sorry, and that is Tennessee. And there's one fan of Tennessee that we let have first word every single week on our picks of the week, and that is Landon the Legend. Okay, so let's go and listen to Landon's picks first. See who's smarter than a four-year-old, not a fourth grader, a 4-year-old. And Shakes, I know I'm not smarter than a 4-year-old at this point. This going forward with my picks, but
I'm just as smart as a 4-year-old, evidently.
so let's go ahead and see what Landon's picks are, and then we'll pick it up after that.
Georgia, USC, Tennessee, Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, Texas A&M.
And that was your legendary picks for the week. The 4-year-old picks his picks first. We pick ours afterwards. And let's go ahead and jump into the games of the week. And they're going to talk about, first of all, I was about looking at last week's games. All right, Georgia Tech at number 6, Georgia. Interesting game because usually this is going to be a blowout every time. Most likely it will be a blowout on the side
Not
of
so
Georgia.
fast.
Well, hear me out. But Georgia Tech's been playing good football lately,
Georgia Tech
as
has
well
been.
as Georgia has been
Right.
kind of set down a little bit. They let UMass score 21 points last week or something, like ridiculous. That's a team that should have been blown out. UMass is not as good as Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech is actually twice as good as
That would be the 2-minute man.
And didn't Georgia Tech beat Miami?
Georgia Tech beat Miami, yes. So can Georgia Tech take out another number 6 team in Georgia this week? Cheeks, what do you think? Is it possible?
I don't think it's possible. I don't think Georgia's going to lay down like FSU. I think they're going to win.
All right, so you got Georgia.
Yes.
Chief, not so fast, or are you going along with Georgia as well on this?
Okay, Georgia, even if they weren't the current best team in the SEC, the 5th best team in the SEC can beat the best team in the ACC.
Wow.
I'm telling you, Georgia Tech, they may look good for a quarter, maybe even a half. But Georgia is going to win this game, and they're going to win big.
It comes down to who can control the ball the longest, and Georgia Tech, I feel like, has had some ability to control the line of scrimmage. If their defense comes out to play, you might see 3 interceptions. Carson Beck might get a little frazzled. You don't think that's going to happen, Chief?
No, I don't think so because the receivers on Georgia are probably a foot taller than the defenders on Georgia Tech.
Oh, man. All right.
Going after
So,
the manhood.
those poor Georgia Tech.
Let's face it, Georgia Tech is not. They're not even top ACC.
Do they rush the field after this game in Athens or no?
Um,
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. All right, Mountain Man, who you got?
Georgia.
Georgia. Why do you have Georgia?
I mean,
It goes without saying.
it goes without saying they can't have any more hiccups. They've got to get their shit together.
Yeah.
And they'll probably run the ball a lot. I just Georgia.
Rooster.
Not so fast.
Whoa! I knew we were gonna have it not so fast on this one. That's why I chose it first.
This game is going to be a tight game.
Okay.
Georgia Tech is good in the trenches. Georgia's relying on the trenches right now because they got a quarterback that's misfiring. I think there's going to be a couple turnovers. I think Georgia wins. I think this game is going to be 24-21 Georgia.
That close. Wow.
Wow.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna stick with the SEC on this one too. As much as I talk up Georgia Tech, this is not going to be an upset. And we have. Who do you got?
Georgia Tech that's seeing a little glimmer of hope. Sometimes that's all it takes
I'm telling you.
get a big flame going. Just a little
I know.
spark.
And they're in Atlanta. They got some money. All those engineers that graduate from there, they probably have some good boosters around that place, man. I tell you what, they're going to be able to buy some players at some point. We shall see. Choppa.
Yeah, I agree.
Stick with the SEC.
I agree with Rooster. This is going to be a close game. This is going to be a grind-out type game. I think this game goes to the 4th quarter, and Georgia pulls it out.
Nice.
Because it's a home team. Yep.
All right, number 5 Notre Dame at USC. They're heading to California.
Oh, this is such an easy pick.
I don't think USC has any chance in this game, in all honesty. Notre Dame is playing some pretty good football. Everyone doubts Notre Dame, man. They really do. I think that they're well coached. I think that this is a team that is, number 5. Maybe they shouldn't be there because they're not really playing that many people. Maybe they should be like number 9. But still, number 5, good place for Notre Dame. If they win this game, they'll stick around that number 5 mark. Who do you got on this, Chief?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, okay.
Notre Dame's been playing great ball. If you saw them play Army this past weekend, they
did the same thing they did the Navy.
Exactly. Almost the same score even.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Notre Dame is playing great ball right now.
In the trenches, they're fine. They're not getting ran on at all. And I think USC, what are they? They've won 6 games so far. They're 6-5 right now, I think. And USC 6-5.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6-5.
The other USC, I still don't call. Never mind. Go ahead.
Put me down for Notre Dame, Cheeks. Who you got?
Yeah, Notre Dame for sure. USC is struggling right now. Notre Dame wins big.
Wins big, okay. Yeah. And Mountain Mama, Jamma Jamma?
Notre Dame.
All right, and Roost, is there a not so fast on this one?
There's just something about the air of the Rose Bowl when Notre Dame goes into USC.
Aww.
Rodney Pete.
It is, that's
Rocky
true,
Ismail.
yeah.
You're talking about Tim Brown. You're talking about the big names back then. The big chanting band out of USC. Notre Dame by 20.
Oh, God.
I know, man. That's true.
Balls by 50.
All right, there is
Give it.
kind of like Georgia Tech making these little small upsets here and there this season. There's another team that's doing that as well, and that's Vanderbilt. Out in Nashville, Tennessee, they will be facing at home the place where they ripped down the goalpost against Alabama. They're going to be going against number 7 Tennessee. And I can't believe we're saying this is an upset alert, man, but I don't put anything past Vanderbilt this season. Does anyone think that this is going to be a blowout? Shake your head yes or no if you think this is going to be a blowout.
Who's this, Vanderbilt?
Vanderbilt, Tennessee.
Where's it
yeah.
at?
It's
At
in
Vandy,
Vandy.
but understand,
That humongous stadium that's going to have more balls in there than there's going to have Vanderbilt
I'm
fans.
pretty sure the entire stadium only holds about 34,000. Yeah, it's not a big place.
Tiny stadium,
I've seen high school football state championship bringing bigger crowds.
It's not about that. It's about, Vanderbilt sleeps in their own bed. Tennessee's got to get on a bus or however the hell they go over from Knoxville to Nashville.
Or bicycle. It's
Yeah, it's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah,
I know.
It's not that far.
There's a comfort level there, and Vanderbilt's not your father's Vanderbilt. They're pretty damn good. So I think Tennessee needs to be on their A game.
So do you think that Vandy has them on their heels and they win?
No.
Okay, so you got Vandy. You got Tennessee.
I do, but I think it's going to be that ugly Tennessee win that they've had the last 6 or 7 weeks. I don't think it's going to be pretty at all.
Yeah, I think that Tennessee is having some challenges
it's also
on that offensive side of the ball.
It's a must-win for Tennessee to move ahead.
Yeah.
This is a game they don't want to play. They do not have to play Vanderbilt to get into the playoff. That is not what they were. If this was Vanderbilt from last year.
When was the last time Tennessee was worried about their rival game?
No, never. Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's a change, but in here, for me, I think the cat's out of the bag on Vandy. So I think it's kind of a novelty the first couple weeks. People were used to going into Vanderbilt coming into town and putting in the second team in the second quarter and smack. They smacked around a couple teams. Nobody took them seriously after the first upset. Then next thing you know, they beat some big players and beat Alabama. I don't think Georgia's sleeping on this one at all. I don't think Tennessee is sleeping on this one like Georgia did, or like Alabama did. I'm just tossing out all sorts of.
Now that they have a chance
I'm going to get it right.
Bring that
Yeah, but I think you're not going to sleep on it. I think what we saw was USC didn't go into Vanderbilt and treat it like a chump game, and they blew them out. So, and I think Tennessee's got a better defense at this point. I know that could be debated, so you can put your comments on the Facebook page. But Tennessee's defense is still very good, and I think it's good enough for Tennessee to win this game. I think it's going to be a grinder, 24-10, 24-14.
You still got Tennessee on this one, huh?
Yep.
Man, so Tennessee is watching tape this week versus Alabama, who is watching tape for the next game after Vandy. You assume that that's the case. Like Vanderbilt, they're just thinking, okay, we're going to go in there and beat the crap out of them, no problem, and they did not. But Tennessee is like, okay, if we lay down on these guys this week and just don't really care.
They got laser focus.
They got laser focus.
Yeah.
We're winning.
Focus people.
You just convinced me. I'm going with Tennessee then.
All right.
I am going with my man Landon the Legend on this one. I don't even know if he chose him because I didn't get to listen to his picks yet.
He chose him.
He chose him.
We don't
I don't know, man.
we just know.
He's been known to go against his team.
Yeah, but last week he was not happy he didn't get to pick Tennessee.
Yes, that's true. Okay, who do you got, Jakes?
I've got Tennessee. That's
Tennessee.
a slam dunk for me.
And Choppa.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Cinderella magic of Vanderbilt's over.
Yeah.
I think people know what to expect. They know they're a good team. We got to show up. Tennessee will show up.
Yeah.
Get the victory. Go on.
And Chief.
GBO.
All right, go Big Orange. All right, Michigan at Ohio State, number 2. The game, the team, the team up north is going to the team down south. Anything can happen in this game, supposedly, but I don't think that's the case this year. I think that Michigan still has that same problem they've had all season. They don't know who their quarterback is, and I'll go ahead and say it now: Ohio State by at least 30, in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm going to go with what Chief says. In my opinion.
I think we can go around the horn pretty quick here.
All right. Who do you got then?
I mean, what we should be talking about is Syracuse against Miami because it has more implications than this freaking game. Okay, I don't know who wrote up the script, but anyways.
Listen, I was
in the back room.
I'm not.
I'm not
the producer. Okay, I am only the talent.
So I'm going to steal this segment to talk about Syracuse against Miami. Okay?
Listen, I wanted your mom on the show to talk about this.
She's coming in a couple weeks for crying out loud.
Jeez, man.
But if she'd be upset. She wanted College Game Day to be up there because there's so many implications. They've never been to the Syracuse JMC Bowl or whatever, the JVL Bowl, whatever the hell it is now, Carrier Dome, okay? Bottom line is there's more implications in that game. Syracuse has a chance to make some waves. You got an 8-3 against 10-1 team up there in Syracuse. If Miami loses that game, that opens up a lot of doors for the ACC championship, to include a chance for Clemson getting into the ACC championship.
As a Tiger fan, I support that.
So there's a lot of Tiger fans that are rooting for all orange this weekend, and we'll see what happens. But Ohio State, I think they're going to probably pull the brakes on, knowing that they've got a big game going on in the following weeks. I don't think they'll win by 30. I think it's going to be somewhere like 31-7 because Michigan has no offense against the number 1 ranked defense in the land.
It's going to be tough, man. I think that we're going around the horn with Ohio State. Mountain Mama, Jamma Jamma Jamma.
Ohio State by 100.
All right. By 100, huh?
I'll take that bet.
I will take that bet, too.
I'll take that bet, too.
Chief, sir. Chief, man, who you got?
I got Ohio State on this one. But I disagree. I think the score's going to be a little lower. I'm thinking it's more like 27-10.
27-10. All right. And I'm assuming, Chopper, you got Ohio State.
Yep.
All right, we're gonna save this one and go with number 75 Auburn at number 13 Alabama.
So I think when Miami goes into Syracuse,
somehow I think this showdown in the Iron Bowl might become a classic, y'all. Auburn coming off a huge win against Texas A&M. This game is winnable against Alabama. Alabama is not
a huge loss.
Always.
Alabama is not the force that they have been in the past. So this is going to be
in Tuscaloosa.
This is in Tuscaloosa. Obviously, it's going to be tough, but Alabama's lost in Tuscaloosa this season.
Tuscaloosa has no power here.
I think I'm going to say it.
Wait.
I'm going to call it.
Stealing my thunder.
All right, I'll let you call it
I'm
first.
stealing your thunder, stealing my thunder.
I'll let you call it first.
So go for it.
All right, I got Auburn on this game, guys. Anything can happen when it's the Iron Bowl.
It was
I've
a smart
seen
pick
it.
last week for you.
I'm going with Auburn again this week, baby.
Yeah.
That's right. I would never go against my friend Chopper's team.
My man.
Well, most of the time you wouldn't.
My man, you're learning.
I've gone against him plenty of
I've
them.
been teaching you well.
All right, who do you got? Who do you got on this team, on this game, Chopper?
Hey, throw the records out.
Nick Saban's gone.
Throw Nick Saban out. Throw the rankings out.
Kalen DeBoer is not the coach that Nick Saban
All
was.
these kids know each other. They've all played with each other their entire lives growing up. They all know each other. Get them out on the field, and it's just who can play the best, and that will be Auburn on Saturday.
Okay.
Sure.
Auburn, all right. Chief, are you going to go along with the two of us, or are you going to go with these jokers over here and go with Alabama?
I haven't even done anything yet.
Well, I know who you're going to
He's
say.
predicting.
I'm predicting what y'all are going to say.
He's projecting, not predicting.
Projecting. There you go. Chief, who you got?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide. Ooh, man.
They're playing at home.
High Tide.
They just came off a loss. That team is doing everything it can, because if they lose this, it's like this is going to impact recruiting. This is going to impact boosters. They're never going to hear the end of it. They win. At least they can say they beat Auburn for the season.
Boom, there you go. Okay, Alabama. You got Alabama. Cheeks.
I do. I have Alabama.
You're sticking with Alabama, too?
I am.
You're not going to go with your heart? You know you want Alabama to lose.
No, I don't care.
Okay. Doesn't matter to you? Yeah, I guess
This is one I don't care about.
I guess I'll go with Alabama.
Okay.
Too. Thanks a lot.
Why are you going with Alabama?
Look, I think he's a good coach. Okay, I mean he just came off of a national championship run last year. I think he's going to be able to rally them for the final game, for the regular season game of the year. I honestly believe that, to everybody's point, it's going to impact recruiting. He's kind of looking at this as like, is this going to impact him for the next 5 years? Because he's going to lose recruits. Does it empower Auburn? He's going to do everything he can to make sure that his team is ready to play against an Auburn team that relies on gimmicks and BS to win.
You're stabbing a stake into my friend's heart over here, man.
No, it's okay.
How dare you say that? But
the other thing we didn't talk about is Auburn's playing for it to be bowl eligible, right? So 6 wins. Ooh.
I don't know, man.
That's a big thing.
You guys
That's a
go
big
to
thing when you've had a
the
bad
Chick-fil-A
season.
Bowl? You guys gonna get a little Chick-fil-A?
We might play Syracuse
Better than
and
the
beat them.
Mayo Bowl.
And beat them.
I'm hoping Syracuse goes to the Mayo Bowl. I want to go to Charlotte and watch them.
That'd be awesome.
Your 10-2 team will get against the 6-6 SEC team if you're lucky.
Hey, Country Roads, who you got in this game, my man?
Take us home.
I like Alabama. I love Auburn. I love their uniforms. I love the War Eagle. I love the stadium. I love their passion. But you said something just now about they have not lost in Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they have?
Alabama
They
has
have.
not lost. Who do they lose to in Tuscaloosa?
Can't remember. My brain's not working today.
They haven't lost. They lost at Tennessee. They lost at Vanderbilt. And they lost at Oklahoma last week. That's their 3 losses.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, they have not lost at home.
You're the smartest guy I know.
I'm not the smartest guy.
Producers called that in.
Yeah,
so.
but
They had it up on the big screen.
anyway, no offense. I'm rooting for Auburn.
Hey, I don't care.
But Alabama's going.
I love it when everybody is against us.
Yeah,
they just play better.
I love it when
Every
everyone's
time.
against Florida
Every
too.
time.
All right.
Yes.
Number 3, the big game. This is where game day is going to be at.
Yeah.
And if we had a huge amount of money, I would take everyone there, and we'd go sit on the sidelines and watch that game as well. But we're not that big of a show yet, but we're getting there, right? Number 3, Texas at number 20, Texas A&M. Price of the tickets, like I said, they were like $1,200 and up. You know, huge amount for those tickets. This is a huge game for both teams.
Huge.
Does Steve Sarkisian decide to throw this game and skip it? We already talked about that. No. It's not happening. So this is going to be a head-to-head matchup. 2 great teams. Texas takes it, though. Man, they're playing good ball. I just think that, even though you have the 12th man hanging out on the field for both, it's not happening, man. Texas A&M loses by at least 10 points. Chief.
Or more.
Hook 'em horns.
Hook 'em horns, all
We're going to
right.
create some drama. It's going to be tied at the half. Texas is going to get nervous. They throw Manning in there. Manning throws for 3 touchdowns. They win by 17.
17 points. Wow. All right, Chopper.
I'm going against the grain here.
No.
I think after 2 losses, that Texas A&M team is good, and they have had 2 losses where they could have won. I think they're going to put everything together this week and beat Texas, get in the SEC championship.
I'll just say this.
And I will even go so far to say this: they are going to also beat Georgia, and they're going to be SEC champs. Yes.
Wow.
Calling it right here.
You heard it here first, folks.
He's Iron Bowl drunk.
He is. Yep. He's high on that stuff.
A&M
Yeah.
wins the
I'm
SEC.
telling you.
Underdogs all around.
A&M
All
wins.
right,
War Eagle.
Countryman, what you got?
Country man. Sound like country crock.
Country boy, what you got?
I'm going with Texas A&M because this season.
Wow. I did not anticipate you saying that.
Everything we've talked about has been chalk, right? Something has to give. This season has been chaotic. This is 2007 2.0. That's not that I don't think it'd be a huge upset if Texas A&M beats them. Right? I think Texas A&M beats Texas and makes the clusterfuck just even bigger.
I agree with that 100%.
Wow.
Giant cluster F.
Hey, A&M's a good team.
They are a good team.
But
A&M's
after
a
these
good
last
team,
2
but
losses,
Texas is a
everybody's
better
saying-
team.
Can we make sure it's softcore cluster effing? Never mind. Let's keep going.
What are y'all? You guys have a fetish with soft core going on right
I
now,
know you
man.
turned over the lab, but we got one more game to talk about.
Florida State, baby.
No, we
No.
skipped right over the
Well,
game
no, you
of
saved
the
it to
most
the end.
anticipated
Oh,
week.
shoot. Carolina Clemson?
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you
I'm
saved
so
it for the
sorry.
end.
I did skip it because I was saving it until last. And then I forgot.
Just save the whole show.
Wow.
Thank you very much. So you want to announce this thing? Go ahead.
I
the
saw
spot.
you flip it over. I was just trying to help you out.
All right, so we do have a big game coming up right here locally. We got Clemson hosting the Carolina Gamecocks. Man, the Gamecocks have been on fire the last few weeks. We all know that. We've all seen it. These guys are good. They're playing some phenomenal defense. Offensively, seems unstoppable, man. It really does. They're going up to Clemson. Clemson has been playing good ball, but they haven't been playing the best ball in the world. I think even Chief would agree with me on this one, right? So let's go ahead and say it here, man. Is Clemson gonna beat it? This is an in-state rivalry. This is probably the most anticipated game of the season, or probably the biggest game of the season for years, right?
In the world of South Carolina.
You haven't seen these two teams ranked playing each other in like 15 or 16 years. It's been a while. So I don't know. This will be a fun game to watch. I'm very excited to watch it. I still think that Clemson wins this game.
Wow.
I know. And I'm not saying it because I want Carolina. I do want Carolina to win, obviously, but I think that Clemson pulls it off. You're going into Death Valley. It's a tough place to play.
That's Louisville.
It's not a tough place to play.
As Louisville, how tough it was.
All right. Chief, who do you got, man? Are you going for your team or against your team?
I'm going for the hometown team here. Gamecocks are going to win this.
Yes.
All right. Chopper, who you got, man?
Gamecocks all the way.
Ooh, am I the only one that goes against them?
You know,
sorry, guys.
Clemson is a great environment. It is not an intimidating environment. It's a very fun environment.
No, it's intimidating.
It's not. It's
We
really
won
not.
there 2 years ago. It's not
really
that intimidating.
We've won there multiple times. There was
Yeah,
a
but
stretch.
look at this series. Clemson.
It's a fun
50%
environment.
more wins.
I'm not putting it down. It's a great environment. It's a lot of fun, but it's not intimidating. Carolina wins this.
Carolina wins this. All right. Who do you got, Mountain Jama? Mama?
Just after being
Country
there,
Crock?
After being at the game, the Missouri game, I'm really worried about South Carolina.
Yeah.
I think Clemson is better.
They beat Missouri
not
barely.
They
Yeah.
pulled it out of their ass. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Clemson's better than Missouri,
Of course.
And the game was down here in South Carolina. God dang it! I'm gonna have to pick Clemson. I don't want that to happen. I just think I don't know. I just got a bad feeling. And here's the problem. I'm starting to become a South Carolina fan, and I'm treating them like West Virginia. I don't have any faith. I can't pick them anymore. It's the same shit that happens with Redskins, the Mountaineers, and now it's happening with South Carolina. I just don't have any confidence in the team I pull for. So there you go. I'm picking Clemson, but I'm rooting for South Carolina.
Listen, I hope
Just
that they...
listeners at home, just understand that we're going to give therapeutic hugs to Mountain Jama, Mama, Crockpot.
Crockpot!
To make sure that he's okay.
It's
It's going to be okay.
He's just a crock of shit over there, man.
It's okay.
Oh my God.
Come on, do you want to bring it in right now? While
No.
Okay.
You need a hug.
All right.
That's
You need a hug. I think he needs a hug.
I feel a lot better now.
All right.
Look, and for all the reasons that you just said is why I'm going Gamecocks on this one, because last week was a little bit of their wake-up week. They were kind of riding high. They were up 21-7, and they started floating a little bit, and then they got caught with their pants down, and they had to make a miracle comeback to win the game. And I think Beamer brought them probably back.
Wofford? That was last
week. Missouri.
Yeah, that was
I think he brought them back probably to that locker room, celebrate a little bit, and then in practice next week was like, look here, that's not something that we do.
Right.
We're a good team. We're not a great team. We have to play full bore all the time. I think Clemson's going to get wore out. Where Clemson has struggled is with when they see a defense that's stout. And I think Carolina's got the speed to control the receivers, control the line, control the run. I see USC winning this game. I think it's going to be like 24-21, 24-17, Carolina.
It's a noon start.
Carolina.
It's a noon start.
That's a plus.
It's a new start. I get the last say.
Let's hear it.
Which is a
Jakes.
good thing, considering I discovered in September and October that every time I picked USC to win, they lost. So in November, I switched, and I started picking the other team, and we went undefeated.
It's a very scientific way to choose.
Yeah, so that being said, unfortunately, I got to go with USC this week. I've got
Jeez.
to. I know, I've got to.
You're ruining the streak.
I know.
You're wearing a witch's shirt for crying out loud.
Should I stick with my superstition?
Unbelievable.
Just stick with USC, man.
Why would you go
That's
I
fine.
got it because I gotta do it.
Listen, this is
because I really want USC to win,
All right, let's
and
close the show.
I want the superstition to be broken.
That's right. All right,
So
I
this
like
is gonna
your,
be the one.
I like your emotions
I think
and
it's
feelings
selfish.
on this.
I'm going to 100% say it's selfish.
Are we
You know what's selfish?
selfish?
You know what's selfish? When I don't have a what the fuck moment for the day, but
I do.
does anyone else have a what the fuck for the week.
No, you should do
That
it. You
happened.
never
Now let's
have
go.
one.
Come on in
Go,
here, man. We're gonna put
Country
this microphone
Crock,
right
come
up to you, my
Did you guys happen to see?
friend?
Did you guys happen to see the end of the Arizona State BYU game? Now I'm not talking about when the fans stormed the
It
field.
was on at 2:00 in the morning.
No.
No, 1 second.
No,
1
this
second left.
was
early.
This was 8:00 in the afternoon.
The
Yeah.
longest 1 second ending ever.
It wasn't
Yeah.
not that the fans rushed the field. It was the fact that the Arizona State intercepts the ball with less than a minute to go, and instead of scoring a touchdown, the dumb coach uses analytics and has his quarterback run 25 yards backwards, take a sack, kill the clock, and then takes another 10-yard sack to kill the clock. And then they get a penalty. They went from having first and goal at the 3 to third and goal at the 50. Then they got another penalty. It was a loss of down, and then BYU gets the ball and just barely misses a field goal. They could have won the in a matter of like 30 seconds. So my what the fuck is quit using analytics, just score, and make a 2-score game, and the game is over.
Exactly.
The stupidest thing I ever saw in my life.
Play to win. Don't
What
play
the
not
fuck,
to lose,
Arizona
right?
State?
Play to
What
win.
the fuck? All right, Cheeks, who you got, man? What's the fuck?
Okay.
What the fuck?
I know this is a shocker. I'm going to the NFL.
That's fine.
So the Eagles won on Sunday. I know, that's awesome.
She has to talk about the Eagles every game, by the way.
I do, don't I?
I know,
Yeah.
every show.
Saquon Barkley had more rushing yards on Sunday and touchdowns than the entire Giants team this season.
That's pretty rough.
Not season.
That's how badly they suck.
Not season. You have more. Read those stats again.
He had 200.
That's a meme. Just because you see it on the internet does
I
not
thought-
mean it's
I thought
true.
he meant for the game. Yeah, he does have more
Yeah, he does.
yards from scrimmage than the entire Giants offense for the season.
Yeah.
That's
for
pretty
the season.
impressive, huh?
That's pretty
But he
impressive.
did have 300 yards from scrimmage last week. Thank you for being on my
The
fantasy
Giants
football
have an
team.
offense?
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
What little bit they had, they said
What the
pocket.
fuck, Giants? What the fuck? Is that your what the fuck?
That was my what the fuck.
Anyone else got a what the fuck? Anyone else?
I mean,
bring it in, man.
We've already talked about it. I mean, the biggest what the fuck for me is, what the fuck are you doing in Alabama going into a mediocre house of Oklahoma and getting whooped up 24-3, 27-3, whatever, 28-3? What the fuck? Pull it together, win the game this week, losers.
That being said, what the fuck, Alabama? And you know what? I'm not going to say what the fuck about our listeners because I love our listeners. So thank you all for listening to the show. Keep on coming back every week to listen to Guys at the Bar talking
Sports.
See ya.
Honey, where are you going?
Where are you going?
Again? Just where are you going?
Where are you going? You're not going to the bar again, are you?
You like hanging out, drinking beer at the bar, talking sports? Come on out and join us.